Sounds good. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. I'm going to just be humble and stay grateful. You say that I'm an excellent trainer, then I'm just going to receive that and just ask the Spirit to move me through this training. And I set my intention before I started, and my intention was just to be clear, to be concise, to be professional, so that I can be a blessing to everyone that's on this call and share something that will share with me for the purpose of feeling fulfilled and certainly everyone experiencing like results like me and the other queens did this past week. So I'm going to make the assumption that everybody on this call has at least watched the video regarding the London breakout strategy. And so I'm not going to be kind of starting with the basics. I'm just going to talk about why this works. And I would be remiss if I did not mention Dr. Patrice, who is also on the call out of Trinidad and Tobago. She created an Excel spreadsheet that is really going to revolutionize the way we do the London breakout strategy. I did it last week, every day last week, and I'll say this number with the disclaimer that past results are no indication of future results. But last week using the strategy, I did $9,600. And in full disclosure, as Ken knows, I trade standard lots. So that's a 1.0 lot that gets $10 per pip. So it's not like I went extremely crazy and did 5.0 lots or 10.0 lots that do $50 a pip or $100 a pip. I really did something that my account would garner as conservative. And so to do $9,600 with a strategy that, in my opinion, is very simple and duplicatable. My biggest challenge, if there was any challenge last week, was calculating pips. And that's where Dr. Patrice comes in, because she put together an Excel spreadsheet that we no longer have to calculate those pips. And I'll pull that up really quickly here, and I'll leave it up to the team leaders on the call to be sure to disseminate this to your members. All the leaders have a copy of this, but we're even going to incorporate this Excel spreadsheet, because what Dr. Patrice put together here are the two main things that we have to identify when executing the London breakout strategy. And that's the opening candle high and the opening candle low. And again, if you've watched the video from MTI, I do want to give them credit. It's a beautiful thing that they were willing to put that on YouTube free of charge to share that strategy, whether you join their company or not. So we're just really fortunate that it ended up in our hands, because knowledge is power. And it's crazy how things can be directly in front of you, happening every single day. But if you don't know, you just don't know. So thank you, Dr. Patrice. I know you're on the call. Thank you for putting together this Excel. This is going to make everyone's life a lot easier, because this is what was time consuming last week. I was figuring out all this stuff manually. So luckily I have a good grasp on how to calculate pips, but I will not be calculating anymore. I think the only thing that we're going to need to calculate, just for a sense of true understanding, is what your risk can be. Because in any given trade, the way this strategy works, we're going to use the term guaranteed loosely, but you pretty much are guaranteed to get 50 pips each night. And you can't control what that's going to be. So if that's 50 pips, if it's 40 pips, if it's 100 pips, we can't control that. But what we can control is our risk. And so in any given trade, we do want to identify, based on these numbers, what is our risk. And so let me go back. Oh, no, I don't want to open Firefox. Cool. Let me start with a little premise on why this strategy works. So as most folks on the call may or may not know, London is the busiest traded session. It is the most volatile. It is the most volume going through it. It opens the earliest when you start looking at another day. The London session opens at 3 a.m. Eastern. I'm in California, so that's 12 a.m. That's midnight for me. I think a lot of folks on the call are in the Central Time Zone, so that's going to be 2 a.m. for you. But when London opens, within the very first 1 to 4 hours of opening, London is processing all of the orders that came in when New York closed the previous day at 5 p.m. Eastern. So as New York is closing, they're finalizing all of their orders. New York closes at 5 p.m. Eastern. London doesn't open until the following day, 3 a.m. So before London really gets going, doing anything, they've got to process these orders. And that's where the strategy comes in. We, as retail traders, get to take advantage of the time that is taking the bankers to process those orders. So I don't want you to take my word for it. I marked up some GBP charts, and we're going to look at the past 3 days on all 6 pairs before we get to breaking down the ins and outs. And so because it is the London session, there are 6 GBP pairs that fall into this strategy that you have to trade at your disposal every single night. So we have GBP Swiss Franc, GBP JPY, Japanese Yen, GBP USD, US dollar, GBP CAD, Canadian dollar, GBP AUD, Australian dollar, GBP NZD, New Zealand dollar. All 6. And as you see, this is what my computer looks like at 12 a.m. I pull every single one up. For me, session opens at midnight. I'm usually getting out of the bed after taking a nap at 12:30. I spend about 30 minutes pulling up these charts, getting ready. But thanks to Dr. Patrice, I probably don't need to get up until 12:50 because now I no longer have to calculate the pips. And you'll see what I mean when we jump into that. So let's look at GBP Swiss Franc. And like I said, I went back 3 days. And we'll just start with the most recent, Friday. What you'll see from my blue arrow here is I've identified what that opening candle is. And so again, 3 a.m. Eastern, for me, it's 12 midnight. As you see from my crosshair down here, I've already put my trading view for my time. For those of you that don't know how to change your trading view, if you come down here, right where it says time zone, click on it, find your time zone. So for me, I'm Los Angeles. So my trading view is already defaulted to that, knowing that 12 a.m. in Los Angeles is 3 a.m. Eastern time zone, and that's when London opens. So let's look at GBP Swiss Franc. On Friday, here's our candle. We have to identify 2 things. We need to identify when this candle closes, the candle high, which there's a small wick here. It's not a significant one, but I believe I've put my crosshair where it is. So it looks like the high when that 3 a.m. candle closed was 1.29496. So since we're in this example, no, you know what? Let me just show these. Then we'll go back and use Dr. Patrice's. Excel sheet. Don't know where that red little line came up from there. This happened on our last training, Ken, and I promise you my hand isn't touching anything, so I don't know where that came from. But I digressed. I'll keep going. So in this particular example, the 3 a.m. candle, 1.29496 is the high. We also need to identify when this candle closes, the low. So the low, as I move my cursor down, at the bottom of this wick, looks like it's 1.29170. Those are the figures that you will need to figure out when you're going to set your buy stops and sell stops. And the reason why we set a buy stop and sell stop, sure enough, you could go back and analyze the market and try to figure out which way it's going to go. But rather than do any sort of real analysis, we have the ability to put in stop orders. And so in this particular example, we see that the market went up. And again, remember, the minimum that this strategy is meant to garner is 50 pips. So if we look at this one to see if we entered about right there, we enter a buy, and we'll talk about these parameters. We enter a buy 10 pips above the high of the close of the 3 a.m. candle. So I am eyeing what about 10 pips looks like, just to show you how long it took for us to hit 50 pips. So if we entered about right here and we figured out our pips, You see we're at 42. We're still just on the second hour. If I come up, we hit 53 pips. So we hit 50 pips at the 2 a.m. candle. So it took less than 2 hours to make that 50 pips. And as you see, that candle continued to go. We can continue going. And where did this thing end up at? 115 pips. Now again, not being greedy, we know we want to get 50 pips. And if you're looking at a standard lot, that's $500. But it doesn't matter what lot you trade. For some, it could be $500. For others, it can be $5,000. For others, it can be $50. And for micro lots, it could be $5. Doesn't matter. What matters is the market did what the strategy said it was going to do. And that was go in one direction. I have no idea where these red lines are coming from. So if someone else is touching their computer, that is press share computer. Okay. But the strategy is designed to go in one direction for the next 1 to 3 hours, at least 50 pips while the orders are being processed. As you see, Friday, it did exactly that. It did it within 2 hours. So you can eye it. Even if I didn't pull up the pip indicator, you can see this went in the direction it was supposed to go. It tapered off a bit. And just depending on how you decide to set up your settings, you might have a definitive take profit at 50 pips. You may have a trailing stop where you say, I want to get as many pips as I possibly can. I'm sorry, I don't know if someone just said something. But if you have a question, be sure to put it in the chat. Ken will let me know. So I'll keep going. That was Friday. Let me scroll back. The day before, here was my candle. We're going to identify the high. We're going to identify the low. We're going to enter in both a buy stop 10 pips above, or we're going to enter a sell stop 5 pips below. Again, I'll show you on a different example. I just want to give you the visuals of how this is happening every single night, every single GBP pair. So in this case, we would have entered here, and we clearly would have taken profit in the, for me, 4 a.m. hour. So remember, every candle represents the unit of time. We're in the 1 hour. We're looking at the 1 hour. So here was opening candle at 3 a.m. Eastern. And I'm going to just use my time. So here was opening candle at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. This thing busts through the sky. There might have been news or something like that, but regardless, you still see the trajectory in an upward momentum to get you at least that 50 pips. So in this case, had we entered about right here, we would have gotten our 50 pips here. We gotten our 50 pips halfway into that 4 a.m. candle. Look as I continue to go up. You all see those pips going up? 119, 129, 146. You know, for a standard lot, that's $1,460. And I actually did this on one of the trades last week. GBP JPY. I wrote it. I locked in my profit at the 50 pips, so I locked in $500 and rode this thing all the way up to $1,400. And as you see, you stay in this trade, you decide, look, I'm not going to bed. It's worth it for me to stay up and get this money. Look how it continues to go up. Look how it continues to go up. We're here at this candle at 8 a.m. my time. Look where we're at. We're at 180 pips. That's a lot of pips, folks. All because folks are processing orders. So let me keep going. Scroll back a third day. And I'm not going beyond third days. You guys are more than welcome to go into TradingView and do the exact same thing that I'm doing, which is back testing, seeing this thing in action every single night. So here we go again. Here's my opening candle. Here's my high of the day. Here's my low of it. Again, we put in both a buy stop and we put in a sell stop. We say, no matter which way this thing goes, no matter which way the market goes, we're going to catch it. In this case, the sell stop would have activated. And sure enough, for the next 1, 2, 3 hours, so by 3 a.m., let's see, when would I have gotten my pips? 45, it looks like I'm at about 48. So this one consolidated a bit. This one may not have hit your 50, but there's 47 pips. So again, if you are watching this, if you are up, you can say, you know what? I'll take $470 over my expected 500, because in this particular pair, it looks like it started to consolidate a bit. But if you look over here, this is the 10 a.m. candle. I personally am probably not going to be trading from midnight to 10 a.m., but it looks like this 10 a.m. may have gotten you down to about a 50 pip. But nonetheless, the strategy went in the downward direction for the 1 to 3 to 4 hours that it said it was, and it did it. So I'm going to go over the other ones really quicker. I think much quicker. I think you guys get the idea, but I want to show you it's not that it just happens on Gbp Swiss Franc. It happens on all of them. So let's look at GJ. Here was the opening. Boom, did exactly what the strategy is designed to do. Went in the same direction. I'm not going to do the pips. You can eye it. You can tell this is way more than 50 pips. Let's go back. Here was my opening candle. Consolidated for 1, 2, 3, and then on that 4th hour, boom, out the water. Did exactly what we thought it was going to do. Here, here's our opening. Went down. Same type of situation. You may even be noticing another pattern, that they all seem to mimic each other. They seem to do the same thing. Now, that's not going to always happen, because obviously there's another pair to consider. So if something's going on with the yen, if North Korea is, shooting missiles and doing all the craziness that they're doing, the yen pair may not mimic the Swiss franc, may not mimic the USD. That's why it's very important as retail traders to stay up on what's going on with the news. But with all things being equal, no important news events, no terrorist attacks, no nothing going on, this is what's going to happen every single night. Feel free to back test it. Don't take my word for it. Let's look at GBP USD. Here was my opening. Boom, went up. Did exactly what it said it was going to do in 2 hours. Here was my opening. Went up in 4 hours. Here was my opening. Went down. GBP CAD. Let's pull this baby down some. All right, here was my opening. Boom, boom. We've already hit our 50 pips easily, effortlessly in 2 hours. Here was my opening. Consolidation, hit it in 4 hours. Here was my opening. Big dip down. You probably hit it. I just looking at the candle, I'm curious to see if this was 50 pips in and of itself, and it sure was. 60 pips, 1 hour, you're done. You put a standard line on that, you just made $600 in 1 hour. If you stayed in the trade, it continues to go down. Now you're at 72. You stay in the trade, it continues to go down. Now you're at 100. That's $1,000 in 3 hours. That's powerful. Knowledge is everything. We have not because we know not. All right, GBP odd, same deal. Let's go look at it. Here was our opening. Boom, boom. We're rich in 2 hours. Here was our opening, consolidation, hella rich in 4 hours. Here was our opening. Look at this one. Again, every time I see these big long ones, I just get enticed and just want to see what it was. How many pips was that? We're in the 80 pip range. So think about it. If you're like me and you're saying, look, I'm not greedy. I want to get my 50 pips. You may even say, look, I don't want to sit up. I don't even want to sit up at the computer. I'm just going to set my take profit, my stop loss for 50 pips and be done. I don't care if it goes 100 pips. I don't care if it goes 200 pips. I got 50. That's where you get to massage this thing the way you want to massage it, the way you want to make it work out for you. So we've got one more GBP NZD. Then we're going to dive into Dr. Patrice's Excel spreadsheet on how you actually place these orders. So GBP NZD, again, here was our opening. Boom, boom, went in the upward direction in 2 hours, made our 50 pips. Here was our opening, went in the upward direction. And remember, with all of these, we're placing both a buy stop and a sell stop. So in these cases, our buy stops activated 10 pips above the opening high. So our buy stop activated in this one about right there. Boom. Come over some more. Same deal, kind of looks just like the other ones. Here was our opening. We entered into a sell stop. They activated 5 pips below. You got your money. So that is the premise of the strategy. Again, I implore anyone on the phone, on the Zoom call, to be sure to go test this stuff out yourself. But I thought it would just behoove me to at least show you the past 3 days. I could scroll back and go the past month. That's what I did before I started the strategy. And then I put it in action last week. So, so let's get into how we actually are going to set a trade, because if you all are like me, we are what, 5, 6, 7 hours from showtime. I'll be jumping in this tonight on all of these pairs. So let's look at this one that I'm on, GBP NZD, for example. Let me pull this up just a little bit. All right, so here was right up under the blue. We identified what our opening candle was. And just remember, guys, this is opening candle. It is not fully formed until 1 hour later. So for me, it opens at midnight. No need for me to get up at midnight to watch it. I can get up at 10, 5 minutes till. I can even get up at 1 a.m. to be real honest with you, because we're putting in stops, and it's not like we're putting our stop in at the high or at the low. If it is a buy, we're putting it in 10 pips above. If it is a low, we're putting it in 5 pips below. So we don't have to rush to get in these. You do need to let this candle form fully. And so that means including the wick. So right here, for example, let's make this a horizontal line. It is red. So we're going to, you know what, let's identify our high with the sky blue. We'll equate it with the sky. The sky is the high. So the top of the high of our candle is here. All right, see where I put that sky blue? That is the high of the opening candle. Let's also identify the low. And I don't want you, let's make it black for the ground. And so right at the bottom of that wick, don't have to be perfect. Everyone's going to be different. You can be trading, you know, with your best friend, and they say, oh, I entered at 1.85129. Well, I did it at 1.85130. Doesn't matter. Get your cursor as best you can. Come at the bottom of that wick. So here's what we've done. I've identified my high of the opening candle. I've identified my low of the opening candle. Now let's show you where Dr. Patrice is a genius. Here with the light blue is 1.85574. 1.85574. That's the high. Let's go to that Excel spreadsheet. Oh, let me see which pair it was. This is GBP NZD. So let's go back to Excel, and that's 1.85574. GBP NZD, where are you? At the bottom, candle high, 1.85574. Enter. Notice some things came into place. Automatically populated. Thank you, Dr. Patrice. It automatically gives you what my entry price is going to be. This is what you're going to put in your MetaTrader for your buy stop. So I want you all to see what it looks like as well. 1.85674. Let's go back to it. 1.85. I'm going to try to get my cursor to go on at 1.856. There's 678. Sometimes it's roller 672. Come on, give me 674. If it doesn't land on 674 directly, you guys don't know what I mean. It's so sensitive. It's hard to get it sometimes right on the 696, 678. Come on, Janelle, get it. All right, for the sake of this, let me get a line. Now, see, I've already forgot the number. Now I got to go back and look. 1.85674. 1.85674. 1.85660, 684, 672. I'm going to just do 672. But you guys know that this is 674. You're going to take the information directly from the Excel spreadsheet. Here is where your buy stop is going to be. It is 10 pips above the high. 10 pips above the high. No longer have to calculate it. Put the high into your Excel spreadsheet. It will tell you what that number is. That's your buy stop. And let me just go ahead and say that. Oh, I don't want to identify the low. I actually was doing a training yesterday, and this was what we were doing. Hold on. So this is your buy stop. Come on. I don't want visibility. Here we go. This is your buy stop entry, which is 10 pips above the opening high. All right, we got that number. Again, mine is 1.85672 because I couldn't get my mouse to land directly on 674. So keep that in mind. You're taking the number directly from your Excel spreadsheet. Now, candle low is the other information that we need to put in. So we come back to it. Candle low is going to, we've identified it here with this black line, and it is 1.85129. So I'm going to go back, put in my candle low, 1.85829. See how quickly I keep forgetting? 1.85829. Let me make sure I got that. No, 1.85129. Good catch. 1.85129. Press enter. Look what is automatically populated for you. Every single thing you need for your MetaTrader 4. Here is your information for your buy stop. You're going to enter it 1.85574. Your stop loss is going to be we haven't talked about stop loss. I will go back and talk about stop loss, but at this point we're just talking about entries. And so your sell is 1.85079, which is 5 pips below the low. So she's already figured that out. So this one right here, I'll put in the text again. This is going to be our sell stop entry, which is 5 pips below the opening low. And let me go get what that number was. Again, if my cursor is unable to get on it, forgive me. Entry 1.85079, 1.85079, 1.85. That's 068, 080. You know what? Let me get a line. 06257 150 1.85079, 1.85079, 045 062 7480. I'm going to go with 80. You all know that it's really 79. Couldn't land on it directly, and I'm only doing this to show you. You guys don't have to do any of this. All you have to do is take your information off of the Excel spreadsheet. I just want to give you a visual of what is actually happening. So for here, if in your sell stops, your entry is 5 pips below the opening low. So had this come down, it would have triggered right here on this line. It actually happened to go up, and sure enough, you're able to see when it would have triggered on a buy stop. We enter it both ways, so no matter what the market decides it wants to do, we are going to catch it. In this case, never came anywhere near your sell stop, never came anywhere near down here. So in a couple hours when you're done, your buy stop is what activated, then you just come and delete this. No harm, no foul, hasn't cost you anything but a few minutes to put it in to catch it had this decided to come down. You see for the whole rest of the day was never anywhere near here. So you just go delete that. So now let's talk about the stop losses. That is your risk. That's what I mentioned earlier, that you do have the power to mitigate. That's what you can control. We can't control which way the market is going, but we can control what we are willing to risk. So when we are putting in both our buy stop and our sell stop, based on the strategy, these aren't my rules. These are just what the experts have said that have tested this time and time over and over again. So you guys might want to write this down. When determining your sell stop, even though, let's go to this Excel spreadsheet. Dr. Patrice has already told you what your stop loss is going to be, but I want you to understand what that information was and how she got it. And it was just basically based on the directions of the actual strategy. So for on a buy, so on your buy stop, your stop loss is going to be at the low of the opening candle. So in this particular instance, here is the low. Let me get a line. On a horizontal line, let's try to give it a different color. Oh, come on. Let's give it fuchsia. All right, so here is the low of the candle, and your stop loss on a buy is going to be the low. So you can even test that. You come back to the Excel spreadsheet. Was your stop loss on a buy equal to the candle low? 1.85129, 1.85129. Yes. So that's your stop loss. Now, what you may be asking yourself is, okay, I see that Dr. Patrice put it in. She put the stop loss on a buy to be the low of the opening candle, but how much money am I risking? Here is where you still need to calculate, because you need to determine, are you willing to have that much risk? So if we know that our entry is 1.85672, and I'm going to pull out my calculator, 1.85672, we know that we're entering here, which is 10 pips above the high of the opening candle, and we know that our stop loss is the low. Let's subtract it. Minus 1.85129. Our risk in this trade was 54 pips. So the distance between our entry and our stop loss here is 54 pips. Let's see in this trade, and you may say to yourself, 1-to-1 is fine. I'm willing to risk 54 pips to gain 54 pips. But you may say, I would actually prefer a 2-to-1. I don't mind risking 54 pips, but I want to gain at least 100, 108 to be exact. That would give me a 2-to-1. So let's see. Let's see what this one ended up doing. We entered here. We do our pips. And this one, I don't know if you can see it. Let me pull it down some. Come over so they can see. Let me pull it down. Let's get my pip. We entered here. Let's go up. And this one at its high hit 139. Now, of course, we don't have the benefit of knowing that it was going to hit 139 pips. But we can say to ourselves, look, if I'm risking 54, I want at least a 2-to-1. Or some folks, hey, I'll take 1-to-1. I'll risk 54 to gain 50 to 54. That's where you can make any adjustments that you want to make, or it may let you know how many pips you would like to gain. If you say to yourself that, well, I know that this strategy gets 50 pips. Anything beyond 50 pips is pretty much gravy. You can kind of decide what you want your risk to be. And I'm not in the business of financial advice. This strategy works so good. And as you saw before, it really didn't even come anywhere near our stop loss. I mean, you look at this, how this trade, let me turn off this pip thing. You see how this trade continued to go. And if our stop loss was at the low of the opening candle, nowhere near, never came anywhere near. So again, that's up to you guys to determine, but you at least when you have the numbers in your Excel spreadsheet, my recommendation is, now that you have it, figure out what you're risking. I mean, because what if you were risking 200 pips to gain 50 pips? That wouldn't make good financial sense, regardless of how well the strategy works. But come back here and figure out what you're risking. And then that may even tell you how long you want to stay in the trade. You may say, yeah, I'm risking 54, so let me try to get at least 80 out of this thing. So yeah, let me come back. So we talked about what the stop was on a buy. So remember, on a buy, your stop loss is at the low. The Excel spreadsheet has figured it out for you. Just want you to know that, see what it looks like here, and then be able to do your math to calculate your pips. So to calculate your pips, just to review, if here was your entry and here was your stop loss, you just subtract to see how many pips you are willing to risk should this trade retrace. Now, on a sell, your stop loss is going to be 5 pips above the high. So coming back to our Excel spreadsheet, this sell stop, this 1.85624, the stop loss on a sell is 5 pips above the high. So is 1.85624 5 pips above 1.85574? Let me do the math. So 1.85574 minus 1.85624, exactly 5 pips exactly. So again, Dr. Patrice has all of the settings in there, everything that you need. She's identified it. So in this case, again, let's figure out what our risk was. And I'll just stay on this page because we've got the numbers. So if our entry price is 1.85079 and our stop loss right here minus is 1.85624, we were willing to risk the 54 pips on the sell stop. So again, you ask yourself if the gain, if your reward is better than your risk or at least equal to. And again, I'm not in the position to tell you what you should do. So let's go back and look at this Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to assume that everybody on this call knows how to enter into their MetaTrader 4, both a buy stop and a sell stop. But if you don't, please get with your leaders. Please review the videos in IML Academy. But the only thing that you will be entering on this Excel spreadsheet is the high of the opening candle and the low. Everything else is populated for you. You literally copy and paste this information or duplicate, just mirror this information into your MetaTrader 4. If you decide you want to stay up, it was fun for me all week, watching all the blues, watching all the profits come in. Or you can say, look, I got a full-time job to go to. I'm getting ready to set this and forget it. I'm okay with my risk. I'm loving my reward. I will take 50 pips. I don't care if I wake up tomorrow and my girlfriend tells me that she hit 300 pips on it. I don't care. Peace of mind. I put my 50 pip take profit. I know what my risk is. I'm going back to bed and I'm going to wake up into some profits. So that's personal preference. That's whatever you decide you want to do. But really, folks, this is the strategy. This is it. You are literally putting in a buy stop and a sell stop with some parameters that have already been figured out for you. And that's it. And I'm just grateful. A gentleman in Ireland shared this with me. And that's one of the beauties of IML and being in IML. I've only been in IML for 3 months, but we are such a global community. We are connecting through social media, through Telegram, through Facebook Messenger. And we're all on a quest and a journey for financial freedom and wealth and abundance. And because of that like-minded, energetic flow, a white man in Ireland that I've never met saw me on the Harmonic Scanner Facebook group, had a couple questions. We stayed in contact. And just the other day he says, hey, have you heard of the London breakout strategy? And no, I hadn't. My bread and butter had been coming from the Harmonic Scanner. That's kind of where people started hearing about me just because of the success I was having with the scanner. But I'm like, no, I don't know anything about the London breakout. He says, look, there's tons of videos on it on YouTube. Go check it out. Tell me what you think. I did that and my mouth dropped. I could not believe that here was this strategy happening in the middle of the night, in broad daylight, in front of my face, all of this money out here to get. And as you see, across 6 pairs that I didn't know anything about. But I believe that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens when it's supposed to happen. The information came to me when it was supposed to come to me. I spent all last week doing it, trading all 6 pairs. I was profitable every single day, and I ended my week at $9,600. So I told one of my girls in Queens Trade that my goal this week is 15K, and there's no reason why I won't make 15K there. There would have to be something catastrophic that makes this strategy not work across these 6 pairs. And as you continue to back test, like I said, I won't take more time. I've explained the strategy. I know you guys have watched the video. We'll jump into some questions in a few minutes. But if you see, these things are hitting for more than 50 pips, and they're never really getting anywhere near your stop loss. So the strategy's here. I implore each and every one of you to jump in on this. Use good risk management. Whatever your account can stand, whatever the recommendations are, if you're not sure, get with your team leaders to talk about, what they may be aware of in terms of what your lot sizes can be. If you're dealing with a small account, anything under than $500, I can tell you right now, you don't want to do any more than 0.01 on a lot until your account begins to grow. But just think about that. In that case, 50 pips is $5 a night. You multiply that by 6 currency pairs, that's $30 a night. You multiply that by 5 days a week, that's $150 in a week. You multiply that $150 each week on a proven strategy times 4 weeks. In a month, you've got $600, and now your account's $1,100. And now you're looking at trading 0.003 or 0.05, getting 30 cents and 50 cents. So you see how this thing can grow, and that you don't have to start off with a lot of money to get the growth. So yeah, be grateful that you're in the right place at the right time. Be grateful that the timing is everything. And it's not like it's going anywhere, folks. People have been doing this. That's all I'm gonna say. Folks been doing this. I'm not sure it was ever meant to get out to the masses, but I'm glad that there is a shift happening, and this sort of information, this wealth of knowledge is getting out to those that are open to receive it. Because as you all know, this IML isn't for everybody. Trading isn't for everybody. It depends on where someone is in their journey. If you are open to abundance, if you are energetically aligned to attracting wealth and abundance in your life, that's what's going to show up. But if you operate from a place of scarcity and lack and complaining, that's what's going to show up in your life. So I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to, be on my soapbox. But what I'm saying is that the 35 people on this call are 35 people that are open to wealth and abundance in their lives. And so the timing is right. You're where you're supposed to be. Anybody that's new to this, it doesn't get any better than this strategy. While you're learning other stuff, because I'm learning too. Remember, I said I've only been in this for 3 months. So while you're learning stuff like Fibonacci and Elliott waves and trend lines and support and resistance, while you're still learning all that, why not do something that's proven, that's been proven over, decades and decades, that happens every single night. So with that, Kenneth, I'm going to turn it over to you. If there's questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, it's about 2 of them. I'm gonna look at them now.
Okay.
One of the questions was, what happens if one activates? I guess it's the buy stop. What happens if one activates, but it goes the other way? That was one question.
So good question. That is exactly why we put a stop loss in, because we're saying, look, we're expecting it to go up, but should it happen to go in the opposite direction, take me out of this bad baby. So that's why, and that's just smart trading across the board. You always want to make sure you have a sell stop. So if it goes the other way, but sometimes I think we looked at an example where, yeah, it went the other way, but I'll turn that off. It went the other way, but it still turned around in our favor. Not this one. These were all going up. Let me see if I can find one like that. Those all went down. That went down. That went up. I may have to go look at another example because I think all of these were pretty much saying. Let me just go back further. So let me go back to another 3 a.m. candle. Nope, that one goes up. And it's funny how you see how they all do what they're supposed to do. It's very seldom is it going to retrace. Let's see, 3. That's 2. Here's midnight, and it goes down, comes up, and then goes. Okay, so this is a good example. All right, great question. So here's a good example of your question. So here is my midnight candle. This one right here. Let me put an arrow on it so it stands out. No, that's my 2. Here's my midnight. All right. Here's my midnight candle right here. So the very next hour, no real movement. If you guys will start to learn how candles form, this really didn't do anything. Yeah, it went down, but there's buyers pushing it back up. It comes here. I'm not sure we get 50 pips. So if we entered 5 pips below, yeah, look at that. It only moved 12 pips. And then what happens? It starts to go up. So in this particular case, let's look and see. If here was the high, and we know that we entered it about 10 pips above the high, so we probably entered it about right here, and it was a sell stop on a buy. You guys know, a stop loss on a buy is at the low. So in that particular case, if this was going in a sell, we need to see if it would have activated. So you know what? This is a good example. Let's see which one of our stops would have activated. And let's use Dr. Patrice's Excel. So I'm glad you asked that question, because we're going to see maybe your sell stop and your buy stop activated. So great question. We're going to identify right now the high. I think we can all agree. Let me get a line going here. We will agree that the high of this opening candle is 1.60082. Let me go to the Excel spreadsheet. Which pair am I looking at? We are in the GBP CAD. So I'm going to come over here. We'll scroll up to GBP CAD. Where you at? Come on, are you at the top? All right, so GBP CAD. Let me go back because I want to make sure I use the exact numbers. So the high, 1.60082. 1.60082. That's my high. Let's go back. Let's look at our low, which is right here. So, give or take or whatever. If I put my cursor there, we're going to agree that the low is 1.59936. 1.59936. Enter. All right. So our buy stop would have entered at 1.60182. Let's go see where that's at. 1.60182. 1.60. Let me get a line. Gotta move. Let me do black. 1.6. I keep forgetting it, so forgive me. 1.600. 1.60182. 1.60182. For the sake of illustration, let's just go with this, 185. You all know that it's 182. So on our buy stop, let's go put it in the sell because we want to see what would have activated. Had it made it here, we clearly see it would have activated here. But let's see if the sell stop would have taken effect down here. So let's go back. Let's look at our Excel to see what our entry was on our sell. So entry would have been 1.59886. 1.59886. 1.59886. Go back. Come on. Give me a line. 1.59886. 884, 889. Come on, give me 886. We're going to do 884 just because my mouse just is really, really sensitive. Okay, so let's look at this thing. We've got a buy stop to enter here. We've got a sell stop to enter here. Would you all agree that at this candle, so here's midnight, 1 a.m. 2, this wick right here brought us into our sell stop. It activated. However, it only stayed in it, looks like 2 or 3 pips. And then this next one came down a little bit. That's clearly not 50 pips. And then it retraces. So we know our sell stop activated on a sell, your stop loss is 5 pips above the high. So let's go see where our stop loss is. And I'm going to turn this to red because I want us to be able to see, would we have gotten kicked out of this trade? So let's go back to our Excel. Our stop loss on a sell would have been 1.60132. 1.60132. So let's go see. 1.60132. 1.601. There's 37. I really wanted to hit 32. There's 33. We'll take it. All right. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. So we would have entered the trade here. This would have got us in. Would have stayed in profit just for a few pips, and then it would have retraced. We know that our buy stop, we have not canceled that order. That buy stop is still in play. That buy stop is 10 pips above the opening candle, where we see that buy stop. Remember, we identified it here with this black line, but look what happens. We would have hit that stop loss. So we would have activated, took a little bit of profit, then it would have started retracing, not looking good for us, and boom, stop loss hit. So very good question. This is a perfect illustration of what you just asked. However, look what also happens. Yes, the sell stop would have hit your sell stop, but what happened? What would have happened right here? Your buy stop would have activated, and you would have gotten up to the top of this wick. So it may have been a wash for you. You know, depending on what depending on what you lost, what was your risk in the sell stop, you would have gained on your buy stop. Look at that, 42 pips. So depending on what your risk was, say your risk, and we can go figure out what it was on the sell stop. Let's go do it. So we know your buy stop would have kicked in, you would have hit 42 pips. Now let's see before it started to retrace. Let's put some context here. Your buy stop would have activated, and you may have said, you know what, I already lost money on my sell. Yes, I've gained money on my buy. Let me just close these out and call it a wash. But let's see how many pips you would have lost when your sell stop activated. So we come here. We know that our entry was on the sell stop 1.59886 minus our stop loss 1.60, 1.60, 132. Your risk was 24 pips. So guess what? With that example, yes, you would have lost 24 pips. So in my case, I use standard. Yeah, it would have hit my stop loss. I would have lost 240. My buy stop would have kicked in. I would have gained, what did we say? 42 pips. I would have gained 420. I still won. Does that make sense? I want you to get that. Yes, because my risk was so little at 24 pips, but this that spiked up activated my buy stop, and then I still gained money. Now, granted, it took a dive, and that's why sometimes, you know, going to bed might not be the best thing in the world. Me, I'm going to stay up. It's worth it. To get this money in 3 to 4 hours, it's worth it for me to be up, to watch it, to kind of see what's happening. And in that case, say you did go to bed in this particular example, you would have lost some good money, because what would have happened is, yeah, you lost your original 24 pips here. Your buy stop would have activated here. And then your buy stops, your buy stop loss would have hit. And your buy stop loss, what we've identified on a buy, your stop loss is at the low. So your buy would have activated, you'd have made some money, but then it would have retraced. And then you come back to the low, it would have knocked you out right here. It would have knocked you out here. So you would have woke up to a negative. And so again, nothing's guaranteed, but you are damn sure going to win more than you're going to lose. And you can go back test this. This doesn't happen that often.
And that's the, excuse me, that's the whole premise of this. Again, we're in the Forex market, and you're going to lose. You're going to take some losses. But these trades are more in your favor than they're not. This strategy is more in your favor. The market is going to do exactly what we're saying it's going to do. And if you don't believe that, like she said, go ahead and do your back testing before you actually use the trade. You're going to lose. If you're in Forex, you're going to lose some trades. But you're going to win more with this strategy than you lose. I have another question.
Yes.
Is there a reason why we do a 10 off the high and just a 5 off the low? Now, before you answer that, if you have any questions, please just go ahead and text those in, because she's answering them as I'm reading them. I don't know if I have enough time to do the raise hands, because then I would have to open up the mic, and I'm not prepared to do that right now. But go ahead and answer that question. Is there a reason why we do a 10 off the high and just 5 off the low?
Sure, that's a really good question. It's a question that I had when I watched the video from MTI. And really the way the gentleman explained it is just after their years and years and decades of doing this strategy, they just found that that worked best. That 10 pips above gave the market breathing room to go up, and that 5 pips below was sufficient. And yeah, so I don't think there's really any technical reason as to why that happens. And again, all we're doing, me, you guys, we're just duplicating a strategy that someone else has given us. So again, I don't know if there's anything real solid or fundamentally sound with why it happens. That's just what they said, and I'm just going to keep on following kind of like the rules of engagement, if you will. Exactly. But good question, really good question.
So the CST time, so is that Central Standard Time?
That is correct.
Is that 2 a.m. for them in terms of the candle forming?
That is absolutely correct, yes.
Okay, so someone asked, is that opening candle will be CST, which is Central Standard Time? Yes, that
and
will
remember,
be 2 a.m.
Here in your trading view, down here at the bottom where my cursor is, you go in, you click time zone, pick your city, or one that you know, even if your city isn't listed. So me, I'm Los Angeles. So pretty much anyone in California could have clicked Los Angeles. But this will put now your trading view in your time zone. So that really helps me. I know that mine is 0, so it's easy for me to look down here. And as you see, 9/11, 0. 1 candle over, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3, 4, so on and so forth. So definitely want to make sure you're looking at the right candle. Any more questions?
Yes, if you have any more questions, I know someone raised their hand, but if you can just put your question in the chat box, that'll be great. That way I can read off the question and she can answer it, because otherwise I would have to actually go look for you to open your mic. We just want to make this as efficient as possible. If you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat box, Zoom group, and then I'll read it off, and then Janelle will. So a person who has only $100 to trade with, what type of lot size do you recommend? Now they say about 10, I think I can answer that. They say about 10 cents a lot size. Well, for that, everybody doesn't follow that rule, but they're not going by proper risk management. So they say about 10 cents a lot size. So that will be 0.01.
I concur. That is absolutely correct.
How long do you wait for the opening candle to identify the high and low to form?
You definitely want to wait till it's done. And each candle represents an hour. So for me, 1 a.m. And like I said, Dr. Patrice's Excel spreadsheet just gave me 20 more minutes in bed, because literally everything that you see on this Excel sheet, I was writing on a notepad by hand. I would put my high, and I figure out what was 10 pips above, what was the stop loss, which was going to be at the low. I was spending 15 minutes, and even though I was up a little early, basically what I was doing was just setting my charts. Sometimes you will pretty much know what that candle is doing. You can get a really, really good idea of how it's going to close. But in all honesty, just to give you good practice, The close is the close. The close is 1 hour later. So literally you should be waiting until 1 hour after to really mark your high and to really mark your low. And like I said, there's no rush. These are 1 hour candlesticks. And now that you have the Excel spreadsheet, shouldn't take you any more than 5-10 minutes max to get everything entered. And then it's just a waiting game to see what's going to activate. But as you see on most of these, when it takes off, it takes off.
I have a question myself.
Yes.
Are you using, and I know most people won't understand what I'm saying, especially if they're not using it, but we'll get to that, I guess, next Sunday. We'll talk about this. But are you using the exit manager on these?
Okay. So for those of you that have an exit manager, this is actually an excellent strategy to use the exit manager. Because as you saw time and time again, this thing really, really went more than the 50 pips minimum. And so with the exit manager, as you know, you're able to put in a trailing stop. You're able to close some lots. You're able to move your stop loss into profit. So it's no longer at a loss. So it becomes a risk-free trade. And I guess this is getting a little bit above, but I don't mind. Let's go look at my demo account and let's pull up my exit manager. For those of you that don't have exit manager, it is going to sound a little foreign. Let me turn my auto trading off. I don't want it to enter into a trade.
If you don't have exit manager, we're going to be training on that on another day, probably sometime this week or so. And what I will do, if you want it, just let me know, and then I'll get that information over to you so you can go and get it.
So I'll take a couple minutes here,
okay,
just to say how this exit manager can really help in this trade.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and if you're using the exit manager, you can only put this on the trade after it activates. So this isn't anything you could do while your order is still pending. You can only put it on afterwards. But so let's say your trade activates, and I'm going to use my examples of a standard lot. So time frame is always current. Take profit. This is a little deceiving. When it says take profit level, all this really means is at what point, how many pips into profit, into the trade, do I want to move my stop loss out of an area of loss up into profit? So for example, I'm in a trade, it's going well, I'm at the $200 mark, that means I've hit about 20 pips. I no longer want my stop loss to be down. I don't no longer want my stop loss to be down in a negative. I'm already 200 in profit. So I want to move that stop loss up into profit. So for me, here are my exit manager settings. At 200 bucks, I want you to move my stop loss. And out of that 200, I want to secure about 100 of it. I don't want to risk it coming down and not getting anything out of the trade. So for me, my pips above break even are going to be 10. So all I've said is when I hit 200, move my stop loss now to 10 pips above break even. Now this accomplishes two things. I'm no longer in a risky trade. There's no way I can lose. The worst I can do is make $100, because if it happens to come down and hit, I will at least have made $100 bucks. Trailing stop for me, I'm also going to do 10. What I've told the exit manager here is that, okay, $200, move my stop loss into stop profit, move it 10 pips above, and now trail the price by 10 pips. So as the price continues to go up, and let's just say it never turns around, as price continues to go up, my stop profit is continuing to follow that price. Like even here on my demo, this blue line is representing price. It's jumpy because I'm on a minute time frame. But if I've got a 10 pip trail, every time this thing is going up, my thing is profiting it. So it goes up 5 pips, I'm $50 more into profit. It goes up 10 pips, I'm $100 more into profit. I'm going to keep riding this thing as high as it goes. I'll always be behind it 10 pips. Now, should it start to reverse, my 10 pip trail doesn't go back. It stops too. The only way it trails it as long as price is going in the direction that I want it to go. So say it retraces a little bit, but it only retraces 5 pips. I'm still good. I'm still in the trade.
Excuse me, sis. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I hate to have interrupt you.
Yeah.
Could you share screen, because we can't see the exit manager.
Oh, you can't see it?
No one can see it. I know you was talking. I didn't want to interrupt you because I understand what you're saying. I'm kind of being selfish, but there you go. We can see you now.
You can see it now?
Yeah, we can see you. I'm sorry.
The whole time I thought y'all could see it. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I was putting in the values. I'll try to be quick because I know it's people on the call that don't even know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned the take profit level. For me, I'm saying when this thing gets to $200, I want you to move my stop loss into a stop profit. And not only do I want you to move it up, some people will keep this pips above break even at 0. But here's my deal. If I've already made $200, and I move my pips above break even, or I just move it to break even, like if this was 0, then if this thing retraces, I lose all that $200. I don't lose money because it'll just come back to break even, but we're not doing this to break even. We're doing this to make some money.
Correct.
So for me, I'm saying when it hits $200, secure 100 of it. Secure those 10 pips. Now, the trail stop, and so I was, when I thought you guys could see my screen, I kept coming over here, kind of just showing this live one. Mm-hmm. So my trail is saying, hey, I'm going to trail where price is, and like right now on my live screen, price is being dictated by this blue line. I'm going to trail at 10 pips, and as long as price continues to go up, my trail will continue to go up. Price goes up 5 pips, I'm right behind it. There will always be a 10 pip gap between me and price. That's why I'm trailing it. So if in a lot of those examples, as you all saw, price never retraced, price continued to go up. Every time it's going up, I'm locking in profit. I'm behind it 10 pips. Now, if price decides to reverse, my trail stops. It doesn't do anything. Now, this thing can come back, and if it comes back 10 pips, then I'm out the trade because I have a 10 pip trail. But if it comes back all the way to 9 pips, I'm still in the trade. I'm still in the trade until it comes back 10 pips. So if it comes back 9 pips and decides, nope, we're going right back up, guess what? I'm going right back up too. I'm still in the trade. I will be in that trade. If it goes 300 pips, I will be in that trade until it comes back at least 10 pips. But the whole while I was making money. So when you ask, is the exit manager good with the strategy? Absolutely yes. And with this, as you will know, the bottom of the exit manager is the fractal. You don't want to do the fractal. Keep that at false. Do your trail stop. You decide if you want to close lots. I never close lots. I want to get $10 on every single pip, so I don't close lots. That's me. Some other people close lots. No big deal. But you don't do the fractal. Leave everything else false because fractal is for long term. As you see, we're in this trade 1 to 4 hours. So there is no fractal. We're not gonna have higher highs and lower lows. We're just gonna trail it. So exit manager is your friend in this type of trade. Makes sense?
That makes all the sense. If you have any questions about the exit manager, get with Natasha. I know she has it. I know Janelle, you have it.
Yep.
I also know Jaquan, you have it. And Tanya, she has it as well, and I have it. So these are the leaders that I know that are using this, and I didn't know that this was an excellent way to use the exit manager as well. But that's great. Let me see if we have any more questions. If you have any questions, please. You answered Jaquan's question. I'm gonna scroll back up and see. They're asking, Ricky asked, how do I get access to the spreadsheet?
Yes. So all of the leaders on the call, Dr. Patrice, Ken, Natasha, Tanya, myself, all of the leaders on the call have the Excel spreadsheet. So reach out to your leader so that they can email that to you tonight, because like I said, I'm jumping on this thing tonight. I think we all are getting on it.
Yep.
This is available 5 days a week. So if you don't have to sit up and figure out pips like I did last week, that is, I'm telling you. So I told Dr. Patrice, you just changed a lot of people's lives.
Sure did. Any more questions? Let me ask you this, sis. Do you mind coming back, going over in detail the exit manager?
No, I don't mind at all.
This week, though, I don't want to wait till Sunday because I want to keep pushing the London breakout for those who wasn't able to get on this. I was able to record it, so we kind of did that. But I wanted to come back Sunday and do this all over again. But sometime this week, we'll see. We'll set the schedule in the back on the back end of this. But to go over both the the Angel Bot and also the somebody's asking a question. Also the exit manager. But I love the exit manager.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, Tanya just said she just emailed someone. So if we don't have any more questions, go ahead and end this because we have been on here for a minute. I don't mind. I just don't want to bombard everybody with it. Jaquan Jeffrey Muhammad, the brother just put his email address in. I'm gonna send it over to you. I thought I did already. I'll send you over the spreadsheet so that you can see it. Hey guys, we're getting in this tonight. I may not even go to sleep, so I won't. So I'll be up. Definitely trades tonight. I love this strategy because the candles form. It takes an hour for the candles to form. I was used to being on the 5-minute candle using the quick fire strategy, but this one takes an hour to form, so it gives you enough time to do that. Very informative. We will be up at 2 a.m. London. At 2 London calling. They're basically putting their email address.
Oh, good.
So, all right. So, can you send it to me as well? People just asking for the. Yeah, it is 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's correct. 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when the candles start forming. So you can go ahead. It forms at 3 a.m., but it's not completed until 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. So, I mean, you can get up at 3, but it's not gonna be completed until 4 a.m. And that's when the other candle is actually starting to form.
But you are getting your information from the close of the 3 a.m. So like I said, I'm gonna get up 10 minutes before the close. So I'm not getting up when it opens. There's no need to get up when it opens. I'm getting up 10 minutes before and start to see what it's doing, open up all my trading views and just get ready to plug the information into the Excel spreadsheet. And then when it's 1 a.m. my time, it's rock and roll. I'll see all the orders. So what your MetaTrader 4 will look like is you will see if you enter all 6 pair, a buy stop and a sell stop, you will see 12 orders on your phone. And again, let me implore you, what I learned last week, and I'm happy to share, I had a day where there was news where my sell stops activated and only got me about 10 pips. It was a lot of consolidation. I'm grateful. I closed those out. Some even went to the negative, and so I really closed them out. I knew news was coming. I left my buy stop orders because I'm like, yeah, this is getting ready to go up. I didn't close my buy stops. My buy stops activated, and those bad babies got me about $3,000. So I say this to say this. Let it do what it's going to do. Even if don't be so quick. Oh, my sell activated. Let me close my buy. You don't have anything to lose. There's nothing to lose by having a pending order. My recommendation would be don't close your other your pendings that are in the opposite direction until you are done, until you're done trading, until you've taken all your profits, till all of your, in this example, all your buys have gone to profit, they're closed, they're no longer in trade. That's when I would close. But don't forget to close your pending orders because, this strategy is just meant to be the 1 to 4 hours. After that, the market is going to do what the market does and be affected by news events and, trends and all of that stuff. And we're learning that stuff, but This is kind of one of those strategies you can do without necessarily knowing anything else. You don't need to know Fibonacci. You don't need to know Elliott waves. You don't need to know any of that. But this is an opportunity to make some money while you're learning that stuff.
Jaquan, you asked the question. I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. I would love to do a Zoom at 3 o'clock, but to be honest with you, what I want to do, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do, and I don't want to get distracted on this. Now, once I become proficient at it, I would love to do a Zoom because I wouldn't necessarily care if I get in the trade or not. But I don't want to do a Zoom at that time, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you could be distracted, people can be distracted trying to pay attention to what it is that I'm saying as opposed to this. What we can do is group up at 3. You can make a call, we can get on Zoom, but we're basically going to talk for a few minutes and make sure that we're all doing what we're supposed to do. But once that 4 o'clock get in, we're supposed to be in those trades and doing what we're supposed to do. So I don't want people to get distracted by listening to us talk over Zoom. I don't think that's wise.
I agree. And what you all will learn is when these things activate, they take off.
That's right. That's right. So that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So you want to be watching. I mean, look what happened here. You see this? This is crazy.
Crazy.
And with this one, it spiked down and went up. I mean, this might have been the day I was talking where my sell activated, but then it went up. Yeah, I think this is the day. Yep, sell activated because it was 5 pips below the low. Sell activated, and then look what happened. Remember I told you it kind of turned around a bit, and I was like, yeah, let me get out of this thing. But I kept my buys open, baby, and look what happened. If you take this candle, 10 pips up, so mine activated here, and look, just so y'all can see the pips that I probably got off this thing. One candle, 108 pips. Y'all see that? 108 pips on one candle because I wasn't so quick to close my buy. Yes, my sell didn't started to turn around, but I knew news was coming. I will, full disclaimer, I had done my research. I knew news was coming, and the news was projected to be good. So I kept this bad baby open. And the beautiful thing about it, let me tell you, this is what the market does. So this is a little trick. For those of you that are still learning, these are the types of things you're going to learn. You see this wick? There were a lot of people that knew this news was coming, but the Forex, whoever, man in the sky who's manipulating stuff, he knew that. So this spiked down. This knocked a lot of people out. But remember, we don't put our buy until 10 pips above, so I didn't suffer any of this. There was no drawdown for me, no loss for me on this wick because my buy didn't enter till about right there. All profit, and that was just 108 pips on that candle. I used that exit manager, so I picked up that 100 and I picked up this additional, so I got about 140 pips. Mm-hmm. See that? Mm-hmm. No loss, no drawdown, all profit. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm so grateful for this.
Any more questions?
No comment.
No more questions. Any more questions? Okay, guys, we're gonna end this. We're gonna be probably doing awesome presentation. I want you to hear this too because I think you do an exceptional job. But they say awesome presentation. Thank you all for your leadership.
Oh, thank you.
People definitely are feeling this, feeling your presentation. I definitely am. I had a question, but it slipped my mind.
It's okay.
But I'll actually go. It'll come back. I just want to make sure the people are getting the information that they need. This is an excellent strategy, you guys. I'm excited to get in tonight. There's no way I'm going all the way live with this. I was using the harmonic scanner, like she said previously, was doing well with that. But I mean, 50 pips. My goal was 20 pips a day. This is 50 or more, especially using the exit manager. If you don't have access to the exit manager and you want to know more about that, there's a video on it. Make sure you get with the leaders, and we'll just forward that video over to you so you can see what the exit manager is all about. You can use the exit manager in conjunction with this to basically profit even more. Because one thing about the exit manager is going to bring in those profits for you. It just shows you how to get out of trades profitable. That's how I look at it. In a nutshell, are these the steps, high and lows of opening, putting it into spreadsheet, then putting info into exit manager? Someone is asking that question.
Absolutely. So again, let's just pull it back up. I want to make sure folks are clear. I'll delete it out, and your leaders will be sending you one with a blank one. But as you see, as soon as I deleted it out, it went back to the default. Your entry price, 10 pips above. Your stop loss is going to be this candle low. So that's it. These highlighted yellow boxes, that is all you need to know. So for me, 1 a.m., I go back and look at the 12 a.m. candle. I put in the high here. I put in the low here. Everything else is populated. This is what you put into your MetaTrader 4 for your buy stop. This is what you put in for your sell once it's populated. So maybe I shouldn't have deleted this. So let me go back to one that has the information. So you put in this, all your information populates. That's what you copy into your MetaTrader 4. The work is done for you. The only extra step, remember, I want you to know what the risk becomes. So for those of you that are still learning how to calculate pips, to determine your risk, it is subtracting your stop loss from your entry price. So Dr. Patrice is your loss from your entry price. That is going to tell you the pips you are risking. Same thing here. Subtract it. Your entry price, your stop loss. That will tell you the pips you are risking. Yeah, I mean, and that's really it. So that's why the only thing you got to do is look at a low and a high. It does not get any easier. This is easier than more profitable and consistent.
I don't know. Okay, still there.
So any more questions? Anything else? Everyone got it? Everyone excited about starting this tonight?
I just got this, and I want to translate because we share energy, So please email me the Excel sheet. Man, I'm hella excited about this. So people are very excited about this right here. Can you send me the spreadsheet? So people are very excited about this. We're going to keep it coming. Every Sunday, we're focusing on strategy throughout the week. I'm going to be focusing on the abundance mentality, of course. Y'all know that 90% of this is your mindset. Also, we're going to be focusing on the presentation as well, the tools that we're using. In addition to that, we're going to be focusing on is mindset, presentation, strategy, and it was one more. I forgot the last one. Mindset, presentation, strategy, and the fundamentals. I think, Tanya, we're going to reach out to you, sister, in terms of telling people which broker we're going to be using. Many of you are using Traders Way. I'm still with them, but I'm trying to exit out with them. So 35 millionaires on this call. Speak that, brother.
That's right.
Speak that. We're going to get with Tanya to try to do the what is Forex and combine that with the fundamentals of Forex, so you can know what a pip size is. People that don't know how to set up their brokerage account. What we have decided to do is come together to fill the void, if you will, in terms of those who don't know. We don't care what team you're on. We don't care any of that. We do ask that you be a part of the IML platform, regardless of whoever it is that you decided to join. But we're just basically getting the information out to the people, especially like the leaders. If you see yourself as a leader or not, maybe you don't want to be a leader and build an organization. That's fine. You just want to trade. That's fine. I'm around a group of people who want to make $1,000 or more a day.
That's right.
That they're pushing me towards that. They don't have to do too much pushing because that sounds really good. $1,000 a day, $10,000 a week, even. That's been set as a goal as well. We have the strategy, and we're gonna keep learning. We're gonna keep bringing and finding more strategies to bring to you guys, stay plugged in. Do not disengage. Just stay plugged in. Doesn't require nothing about, on Sundays, for those of you who are skilled, it doesn't require nothing about an hour or so, hour and 30 minutes to get this, and then the market is going to open. So I think that's pretty easy right there. And during the week, if you have people, plug them in on what it is that we're going to be doing as far as like doing the presentations, the tools what IML has, of course, the fundamentals, and then also, of course, we're going to continue with the strategies. I'm going to try to bring the sister back on. She always says yes, Miss Janelle. She always says yes and does a really good
That's
job.
right.
Talk about the exit manager and break that down in conjunction with the strategy that she's outlined today with the London breakout. Does anyone have any more questions? They're saying blessed, using that language, which is good. They're saying 35 millionaires on this call. Let's go. I'm going to do this tonight. Financial freedom.
Yes.
This is the feedback that we're getting.
Yes.
I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that you guys came out. But sister, I mean, it's on you. You did a really good job. I'm so grateful.
Well, it's my pleasure. I realize that this assignment, and it is an assignment, is bigger than me, it's greater than me. If you continue to get on my trainings, you'll know that my favorite quote in the whole wide world is from Dr. Maya Angelou that says, when I get, I give, and when I learn, I teach. And so I live my life by that, because I believe that we are put here to be of service. And the fact that I got this, I get it, I'm very comfortable sharing it. It's my assignment to make sure I continue to share it with the masses, especially the masses that want it. Because remember, it's only 30 people on this call. Exactly. That's 30 people that are open and recognize that abundance is their divine right. That's 30 people that are ready to change programming and get profits over wages. That's 30 people that have already put things into motion so that the universe can put them at this place at this time to get this information. So we got work to do. It's only 30 people on this call. We got to continue sharing the message for those that are ready. Because remember, everybody ain't ready. Because trust me, I've told best friends about what I'm doing. I've told people that I've known for 20 years, and they just say, oh, that's cute. So, you know, I'm not here to push it. I don't need to bet. I'm just trying to share. I'm trying to share with you what I'm doing. And if it's not for you, or this is not the place where you are on your journey, trust me, when they come back around, because it's go, you know, be like, dang, you still doing that? Yep, I'm still doing this.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm so grateful. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really grateful, especially with the 30 people, because if you know what, if you know in terms of how to build networks, it doesn't take 30 people to affect millions. And so with the group of people that's on here, the core group of people that's on here, I'm telling you, by using this strategy and leading with this strategy for yourself, and then those who want to hear what it is that you have to say, and you go out and teach them, or plug them into what it is that we have, this network, or what it is that we're offering, I'm telling you, they can't help but prosper, because we're all about abundance and wealth and creating our lifestyle as we see fit. So I see that there's no more calls. I do see this is so powerful. Brother just said, I see another brother say, I'm going to pay off all my bills. They're saying, thank you. I'm going to pay off all my bills, my mama's bills, and my brother's bills. I'm telling you, that's the thing. And we have the avenue to do it. So I did record this.
Speak
so don't worry.
Speak it. And so it is. And so it is. Yep.
So I did record it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that out to you
Good
guys.
Deal.
I am forever grateful for this training. I just want to get the feedback, give you the energy that the people are saying about the call. Again, we're going to be doing one every day. I'm going to try to do one every day. I'm employing, if you're a leader and you feel comfortable, hit me up. I don't care what team you on. Let's create you a flyer. Now, let me say something about Janelle. She don't want no flyer made. She's real modest and humble. She don't want all that attention drawn to her. So that's the only reason she doesn't have a flyer. I will get one made for you if you want to come forth and start doing these Zooms, because the more of us that are doing this, giving the information out to the people, the better. I just recognize Janelle. She's multi-talented, But on this strategy thing, as y'all witnessing yourself, the real deal. I don't know why somebody would want to color the presentation up like that. Don't make any sense to me, but if it makes you happy, go get
I don't know where that comes from. I don't. I don't know what's
go get the straight jacket. If that makes you happy, go ahead. No, I'm just joking. I don't care. I'm grateful you didn't do it while she was doing this presentation, distracting everybody. Okay.
It's probably inadvertent. I know I'm sure the people on this call. I'm sure it's inadvertent. I don't think anybody's doing this on purpose.
I'm teasing. All right, so that's a wrap, people. I'm gonna get ready for 3 o'clock. I'm waking up at 3.
That's right.
Anyway. Looking forward to doing the next Zoom. I did record this. I'm gonna try my best to get this out tonight, as soon as I can. It may be in the telegrams and all of the telegrams and all the group. I'll get this out. Sister, you want to say any last words?
No, I'm good. I'm just going to speak happy trading over everyone. Practice good risk management. If you're timid, do it in your demo account. Watch it happen in action. Try different strategies, like even this, to still kind of get the same results as opposed to managing 6. So that's just me, just trying different stuff each week. It's the same, the strategy doesn't change, but instead of doing 6 pair, I may pick 3 and do 2 positions on each, but not trying to throw anybody off. Go ahead and get your feet wet, do the strategy, try it, and then let's come back together next Sunday and let's review. Let's talk about the week that everyone had, or definitely share with your leaders and you all's individual telegrams and stuff like that. Ask questions. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone did doing the strategy this week.